Hello and good afternoon. My name is Jack Newman and welcome back to Nétive VMS. For those of you who've joined sessions earlier on in the day, thank you all for your participation. You'll be pleased to know that I'm still standing. I'm entirely fueled by coffee at this point, but nonetheless, I'm very pleased that you've been able to join us. We hope the sessions prior to this have been valuable and you've been able to take something away from them. And again, we hope that this session is useful. Today we've had a really full program. So this morning I had a chat with Patrick Thiessen, our CEO. I spoke with Chris Neddermeyer around the mid-market challenges which can be solved by multi-tenancy. And then this afternoon we delivered a record implementation in just under 8 minutes for launching our solution to a new tenant in an existing multi-tenant environment. If you missed those sessions, or if you'd like to catch up, you can do so through our website, www.native.co.uk. And then after this session, we're going to wrap up with a pub quiz and a drink at 4:30 p.m. If you want to comment or ask any questions during the sessions today, then you can do so by clicking on the YouTube button on the bottom right of your screen, or you can send me an email directly to jack.newman@native.co.uk. So the purpose of this session is to act as an executive roundtable in a time where we all work remotely. We thought we would do so remotely, and we're aiming to broadcast some of the views and opinions of some of our partners and various leaders across the MSP market. So to kick things off, my dear colleague Rolf Hammersma, his overall responsibility is for our MSP partners. And he was able to have a conversation with Allison Hawkins recently, who is Head of Professional Services at Randstad UK. Now, Randstad UK, they were one of the first partners here of Nétive in the UK, actually even before we gained local presence and we had a local office here. And Rolf and Allison have been working together for around 3 years now. And so they look back as part of our partnership, their relationship, and the benefits that Randstad have experienced through Nétive. So I'd like to just show you that interview just now.
Welcome to this video of Nétive VMS. My name is Rolf Hammersma, and within Nétive I'm responsible for partner strategy and partner relations. In this video I'm joined by Allison Hawkins. Allison, thanks for joining us in this video. Could you please introduce yourself and your business?
Of course. So my name is Allison Hawkins. I am the Head of Implementation for Randstad here in the UK. And Randstad is a global HR recruitment business. Thank
you very much. Randstad and yourself have been a partner of Nétive for some years now. And from your perspective, could you tell us what Nétive brings to your organization and also how you would qualify our services?
Of course. So I started with Randstad 3 years ago, and before that, I believe Nétive had been working with them for a few years. My role really is to work as the operational strategic partner with Nétive here in the UK. So we use Nétive as one of our VMS platforms for our MSP programs based here in the UK, varying in size across public and private sector, in a range of different industries, from police forces to corporate businesses, really. So that's what we use Nétive for.
Allison, could you please elaborate a little bit more on what you would consider the biggest contribution of Nétive to your service offering?
Of course. What Nétive offers us is a system to offer end-to-end service to our MSP clients. And with it being so configurable, we're able to sit down with our clients in implementation and offer them a system that is fit for purpose for their business, depending on what workflows and approvals and data that they want to get in and put into the system.
Thank you. And on a more personal level, what is the thing you would highlight if you would say how we work with you or how we work together as organizations?
Of course. I think we've worked with many different partners in various different areas of the business, and I believe that our relationship with Nétive really is a very symbiotic one, and we work together very well. I think when we are working in implementation, our team internally, including our dedicated native partner, is always very, very close at hand to answer any queries or questions we may have about weird and wonderful requests from our clients. Also in post-implementation as well, which I think is really key. And I don't think that is something we would maybe get elsewhere as much as we do from native. So we have some clients that want to make alterations to the systems or change workflows, just in the changing nature, I suppose, of the relationship and what they want to get out of it. And this year in particular, we've had a few clients that wanted that, and Native has been fantastic and really supportive in getting those changes into the system to make them more fit for purpose for the clients we're working with.
So Allison, what would you say is typical feedback you receive from your colleagues working with Native, or even your clients working with Native?
Sure. So internally, Native has a very good reputation in Randstad. I think we've implemented it many times now. What we find really upon implementation is that we can make it as configurable for the client as they want. So what they like within that is that they can replicate their approval process in particular, or make it as simple or as easy if they want, if they are maybe a complex public sector client that already has a rigorous approval process or vetting process prior to needing the VMS. So feedback has been really, really good. I know Native have worked closely with our team here and our tech team to have videos and user guides and specialist bits of help guides, I suppose, that can assist some of our clients through that. So yeah, we found that the feedback has been overwhelmingly positive. I think where there has been some changes as well in some of the terminology for the UK market, that has been really beneficial to our clients as well.
Okay, and you obviously talk a lot to clients. What are the developments you see in the market related to the use of software and the use of your own systems and Native?
Yeah, sure. I think the three things probably that we think are key really going forward is the ability and the functionality to map statement of works end to end. I think that is going to be key for the market going forward. I think people are more keen to look at reporting and the different elements of reporting that you can use within the system. So I think any sort of functionality and improvements around reporting would be great. And probably fast moving temps, I would say sort of shift management and those kind of things in that more sort of blue collar, maybe education and care market.
Okay. And how would you evaluate Native being ready to follow your plans, your strategic agenda in this market?
I think we've worked really well with Native in our QBRs around letting you know what our strategic priorities are going forwards, and being really open and honest in what we need from the system. And I think in all of those meetings, you've obviously talked through your roadmap where the expectations are for Native going forwards, and they definitely mirror. So I think we're obviously looking at similar priorities, which is great.
Okay, well, thank you. Is there anything you would like to add that hasn't been discussed in the questions that I just asked you?
No, not at all. But I think we have a really positive relationship with Native in regards to how quick you come back to queries, and I just obviously thank you for your support with that, because it is very, very helpful. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much for your partnership and the way we can work together. And thank you also for your contribution to this interview.
No worries. Thank you very much for asking me to do it.
Hello and welcome to Native VMS. My name is Jack Newman, and today you will join us for one of our partner success stories. I've got the pleasure to be joined by Alex Onufriu of Interquest. Alex, good afternoon.
Afternoon, Jack. How are you, sir?
Very well, thank you. And yourself?
Good, very good, thank you.
And the pronunciation was good?
You're spot on, actually. Yeah, gold star.
Awesome, thank you. Just to set some context then to this video, back in 2019, in a world with much less complexity than today, Native and Interquest commenced a strategic partnership for Native's technology to underpin the diverse program portfolio of Interquest. And so here we are today to discuss elements of that partnership. Alex, maybe a good place to start would be please to introduce yourself and the Interquest business.
Yeah, thanks, Jack. So, yeah, Alex Onufrier. I've been running the Interquest Solutions business now for about 4 years, kind of stemming from total talent right the way through to managed service or MSP, recruitment process outsourcing, which is kind of your traditional RPO. And as I say, as the market's kind of evolved, more sort of total talent offerings where essentially you're combining the two of them together. The group we're part of Interquest Group, which is again a total talent business. Initially started as an IT recruitment business, and more recently, we've evolved to include a consulting arm, an executive recruitment arm, as well as a public sector business. So the solutions business runs in isolation, and at the moment, it's there that we actually utilise the Nétive tool.
That's great, thank you. And just to then elaborate a little bit more on the initial problem that you tried to solve in bringing Nétive in, what was that process around? What was the real challenge that you were looking to solve?
Yeah, good question. We had worked with the previous provider for about 5 years. I think what gets you from A to B doesn't get you from B to C. And I think at the size of the organization that we were, I think the technology was kind of fit for purpose. However, as I think time progressed, we realized that actually some of the functionality was becoming obsolete. But being really candid, most importantly, the bit that I value the most, certainly in my role, is that kind of post-sales support that, we know things will go wrong. And when they do go wrong, it's how that supplier or that partner addresses it. And I think what we were starting to see was some challenges in that sort of customer support, in that real strategic partnership, seeing the bigger picture, supporting us through, transformational periods and evolving as our business evolved. So I actually started a fairly robust tender process in the market, and our PMO function ran a fairly extensive review of all of your competitors, Nétive included. And yeah, we were delighted to appoint Nétive as our partner of choice back in 2019.
So Alex, thank you. And you've just gone through some of those points within your selection criteria. What for you was the most critical aspect of bringing in a new VMS and the most important part of that?
Yeah, I think there were probably two key reasons for me. I think firstly, the technology itself, and secondly was the people that we engaged with through the process. If I start with the technology, for me, it's not just about where you are now, but also it's about where you are looking to go. We have a roadmap, a strategy, a 3-year strategy that we're trying to achieve, and we're already on that journey. And what was nice to see is that your roadmap of initiatives and development aligned to ours. So I think the fact that the functionality started to extend into the statement of workplace, I think, is key. As you know, that's an area of the business that we are starting to evolve, and we've already been starting talking about some combined opportunities in that space, which is brilliant. I think the fact that you're also there as an ATS, whilst obviously we were talking to you initially about the VMS side of it, we know you've got the ATS piece as well. So I think just knowing that you've got that kind of in your armory is really important. Then I think from the people side, no one likes to be sold to. There's got to be that kind of authenticity and that cultural alignment, and I think that came through significantly when we met yourselves and Norma and Bart and Patrick. Everyone kind of showed a sort of a genuine partnership spirit, a willingness to help, to support future conversations with clients, to support with collateral that we can share with clients. And I think that came through from the very first meeting, and that's, touch wood, that's played through post sales as well, I'm pleased to say.
That's great, thank you. And so then just to elaborate a little bit more on the scope of your initial implementation, because it wasn't a cut and shut, straightforward implementation of one VMS to service one customer. I think originally we serviced 4 of your customers in that original implementation. So what was that experience like for you and for the business?
Yeah, I think it's any implementation. I think you go into it slightly apprehensive because there's risk attached, particularly when the tool and the technology that you're looking to implement directly is involved in payrolling quite a lot of contractors, and if they don't get paid and that falls down, you've got a problem on your hands, as we all know. So I think, looking to do multiple implementations across multiple clients was we know was a risk, but it was a calculated risk. We piloted with some of the smaller clients first, and we worked our way through to the larger ones. But I think where you get the confidence is, again, in a partner that's going to sit down, that's going to talk you through the project plan, show you what the risks and issues are, show you what the mitigating factors are, reassure that every part of the tool has been tested to within an inch of its life. And again, that had to be done both from your side and from our side as well. And I think what really worked well was just, it sounds kind of a cliche, but the open lines of communication. We spoke daily, we spoke openly. If we knew there was an issue, we'd front it, we'd work through it, we'd move on from it. If there was an issue on our side, you weren't afraid to give us feedback to say, look, we need you to be pressing on. So I think that's kind of how we made it work. It is fraught with danger when you're looking at VMS implementations across multiple clients. But I think we managed it really well, and equally the communication out to the business as well as we went along.
Perfect. And so, as an extension of that, how has it been for Interquest dealing with Nétive on more of a day-to-day basis, more of an operational sense?
Oh, it's been delightful, Jack. It's been delightful. It's been fantastic. Jack, I think, again, what's been really nice is, you've got some good relationships, with my leadership team. You've got good relationships with, the operational team that use the system day to day. I think we've had some really good dialogue with, with Patrick, at a leadership level. He and I talk, once a month. We talk through strategically where each of our organisations are going and make sure that we remain aligned. We work through any challenges that may come up, and I'm pleased to say we've had, little or no challenges in the just over a year that we've been kind of working together. And as I say, so far from my perspective, everything that we've asked for, I think you guys have delivered on, which has been really important. I think just that whole, we'll do what we say we're going to do, and that sort of, I guess, what's the word? Reliability, which sounds like a very ordinary word, but certainly from where we came from, having a partner that's unreliable when you've got to front that to clients is so important. So I definitely don't underplay that when I say that you've been a very reliable partner to us.
I have to ask you, if there was one criticism or one constructive criticism that you could make of Nétive, an area for development, let's call it, what might that be, Alex?
Oh, that's a good question.
If you don't have an answer, that's
good question. I can't think of one, which maybe is testament. I mean, look, on a serious note, I think, look, you guys have done everything that's been asked of you. I talked about reliability, and that is so important. There literally isn't anything. You've been really thorough in your approach. You've built great relationships with our teams. The technology, everything that you said it did, it does for us. Where we've spotted opportunities for development of the tool, you've been really responsive to that. So genuinely, I think, you've kind of been the perfect partner to us. So, we're quite excited about working together in 2021 and what it's going to bring.
Alex, thank you for being a really great guest today. We really value this partnership. We're proud of the Interquest business. We're proud of your resilience and your culture in making it through last year and for coming out stronger in 2021. And we look forward to developing the partnership with you for many years to come as well.
Thanks, Jack.
So you heard there from Alex Onufriu of Interquest Talent Solutions. I'd like to thank Alex for being a part of that interview. Up next, my colleague Joanne interviewed Michel Badeau of Talent Sourcer last month. And the reason for the interview was a project that Talent Sourcer had taken on during the pandemic. And their client, Majorel, is a global operating outsourced contact center organization. And they had won a Dutch government contract to set up the centralized COVID track and trace center. And it meant that Majorel needed to set up really a remote contact center in a technical sense. They had contracted Talent Sourcer as an MSP to facilitate the recruitment of those call center workers. And together with their supply base, they were able to recruit and onboard over 400 different call center workers within 3 weeks. So let's hear Michelle's thoughts on how they achieved really what is quite an amazing level of workforce agility in a really short amount of time.
It's Michelle Badeau, talent sourcer. Welcome, Michelle. I want to ask you if you can introduce Talent Sourcer as an organization, as an MSP, and of course your introduction of yourself.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for the opportunity. We are from Talent Sourcer. We are recently entered the Dutch market, but we're not very. We're already an existing organization which is rebranded to Talent Sourcer from December 2020. We are providing MSP services, but also recruitment process outsourcing, to RPO services to our clients. And we're trying to combine that to get to total talent acquisition and later on to total talent management. We're a very small organization yet, but we hope to expand very rapidly soon. And we are providing services into industry, but also a lot in governmental segments and bodies. And that's meaning we have a bright spread in the Netherlands on customers currently.
Okay, and what's your role in the organization?
My role is operational manager, managing director actually, and that means that I'm responsible for all programs we're running in the Netherlands currently. And I'm not new to the MSP business. I've been working for some larger staffing companies to set up the MSP industry for them.
In the chain of organizations involved in solving the test and trace problem, it's important that every chain partner offers added value in the realization of agility. What is your view on this, and how do you deal with this as a service provider and as a client?
We think agility is a main thing we provide for our customers, and it's also necessary to cope with crisis situations as we have with the current pandemic situation across Europe, actually across the world. But let's keep it to ourselves, what we're doing. I think everybody needs to be involved and add value to the chain. That means if you're a governmental body and you're confronted with COVID, as an example, you don't necessarily have to have the knowledge about how to manage a call center, how to manage the systems involved to get feedback, and also not how to contract and find the right people to man your call centers or any other function. So I think every party involved had their own experience, and they are combined to make this happen. And that happened in a very short time.
What was the biggest challenge for Talent Sourcer in facing this Majorel case?
So it was interesting how we get the real profile defined. It's totally different than a typical call center, which you have a goal to achieve. You still have a goal to achieve, but it's a different way. Yeah, it's more a mature conversation, can go either way. Also difficult to train. So that was the interesting part, was how to get, if we ask these kind of types, people, men, women, whatever, how can you deal with that, and how does it deliver the best results? And last but not least, how can we keep those people's satisfaction as well with their job? Because if you're handling only aggressive phone calls all day, you can imagine you can't make that for 8 hours a day. So that was the challenge in the start.
Yeah, and of course it requires a lot of empathy from people, patience, but I think there are privacy issues too. So a lot of things to manage.
You need to be a good listener and tell the right story, and also trying to convince people that you're not going to harm them in either way, and the information data is safe, and that you're doing it to help us to get out of the pandemic and get to a normal situation once more. But yeah, patience and right attitude is key.
And what do you ask of the partners in the chain after Talent Sourcer? What do you require from them?
Yeah, typically those are staffing agencies who are really used to provide vast numbers of people, but again, looking at the challenges with the profile and really determine, are people fit for doing their job? That was the challenge with them. So they are really focusing on sourcing, screening, and getting the right people in, and make sure they also stay in, because that's also very important, that we don't have to add new people every week again. And that was the challenge for them. We provided also a service to them to provide the system where we do the contracting and time attendance and all kind of those things. So they add a lot of value in sourcing and screening, and we were happy that we could provide the basic structure for all of them in one system in one way.
Okay. And what does this success case mean for the future as far as you are concerned?
Yeah, for sure. Let's hope we will stay away from any pandemic crisis again. But it shows that we are able to really step up to the plate if necessary, crisis situation or not, and we can do it quite rapidly and can reinvent the process along the way, but still keep the fundamentals in place, like all the regulations regarding how to procure, but also to pay and do things like that. So typically an MSP is a heavy implementation, not only in knowledge, but also in time. And you can drill that down if you really have a clear goal and also are able to reinvent during the process. So for us, it shows that we can rapidly deploy it and then engineer it along the way to fit for purpose.
Well, thank you for being our guest in this podcast.
Have a problem with your sound, so sorry that I interrupt. I think that everybody heard or understands that you are trying to wrap up this session, so I will do it on behalf of you. My name is Narada Bouwland. I'm the marketing manager of Nétive. So I hope you enjoyed this executive roundtable, and I would really like to invite you to join our next session, which is our Contingent Workforce Pub Quiz, which I will host myself. It will contain a lot of theoretical questions just to see if you are actually a contingent workforce expert, but it will also have a lot of fun questions for you to get your Thursday afternoon drinks going after your hard day of work today. So please join that session. If you have any questions about the reference cases you just saw, you can contact Jack. His email address is jack.newman@native.co.uk. If you're interested on any other level, you can go to our website, native.co.uk, and contact us there, and we will definitely pick up any question that you might have. So thank you for joining this session. If you would like to review any previous sessions that we have done today, you can do that via LinkedIn, YouTube, or our website. But thank you for your attention for this session, and hope to see you in a bit. Bye-bye.